Hey everyone, and welcome to a very special episode of Scaredycast. Some might say the greasiest episode of Scaredycast, and that's because we had the absolutely insane opportunity to be able to talk with Sky Elobar and Michael St. Michael's from none other than the Greasy Strangler. That is right. Thanks to Scott at Asylum Records, we were able to sit down with them, talk everything greasy, and then some. And if you're not a bullshit artist, you're going to tune in.
Years and years and years, I've had trouble sleeping. I've tried ZQuil and all kinds of different, like melatonin things, all that mess.
Yes.
Value Sesh entered our lives, gave us some great gummies and everything. And then they're like, we're going to send you Rabbit Hole Nights.
Oh, I'm so jealous because I didn't get those.
And I'm like, all right, let me try these out. These things have changed my life.
Legitimately.
They are a sponsor, yes. But as I'm saying, legit, these things work every single night. When I know I need to get a full night's sleep and wake up early in the morning, I take one, and an hour later, I'm toast. I'm done. Puts me out, and I sleep all night. I don't wake up in the middle of the night. I don't have any issues. I wake up feeling amazing.
Yeah, it's like it doesn't leave you with that like groggy feeling that a lot of other like sleep aids do.
ValueSesh.com, code Scaredy. Get yourself some Rabbit Hole Nights and sleep like a baby, like me.
Or have them during the day and just enjoy being calm, like me.
Calm is nice. Value Sesh is nice. We love you, Value Sesh.
Value Sesh rules.
Yeah.
Aren't they all?
I remember Gorgeous George.
Yeah, my mom saw him live wrestle once.
He picked me up once and
What?
gave me one of his hairpins when I was like
4 years old.
pretty much.
Wait, picked you up like in a car or picked you up as a child? Like took him back to his hotel room.
As a child.
As a 4-year-old.
And he gave me one of his gold hairpins.
Oh no, what is that code word for something?
No,
Do you
I
still have it?
No. I had to hawk it.
had
Part
to.
of my bail money.
You know, you got to do what you got to do sometimes.
But
That's incredible.
no, I was
Gold.
I was on a
From my good boy.
I was on a TV show as a kid called Happy Talk Time on the Dumont Network. And I had no idea what TV was because we didn't have one. And we were supposed to talk about what we did last weekend. And I said, I went to the movies and I saw this movie where a car rolled down the hill and a bear came over and ate the people. And they didn't let me talk again for the rest of the show because I had to be on it every day after. My mother was one of the producers, and I think it was a babysitting gig for her.
We have a question from Nathan Basil, so we have to tell you. So we had Nathan Basil, who played Leslie Vernon in Behind the Mask. We had him out here for a live show earlier this year, and we're like, we're going to review the Greasy Strangler.
Basil is a really good antibiotic.
Definitely.
Very healthy. Good in here.
We need it.
If you guys like horror movies, definitely watch it because it takes place in a world where Jason, Freddy, Chucky are real. And he's trying to be the next one, so he hires a documentary crew to follow him around.
So
as
kind of
he
like how
gets ready to do his first,
we have
like,
real
thing,
serial killers. We have Gacy and we have all the big, but it's like imagine Jason, Freddy, all that. Those are real.
Oh my God.
It is an amazing movie.
It's so good.
And we have such a personal story with the Greasy Strangler.
Oh, God. You guys... Whew-wee. So we did a live show, and every episode of our show we talk about ghosts and cryptids and things, but then we end it reviewing movies, and that seems to be what everybody likes the most. And then so for our live show, we're like, let's review a movie for the live show.
But it got to be a banger because people are live.
Yeah, it's got to be something good. So I'm going along, and I've always had the Greasy Strangler in my queue. I think it was on Prime or Tubi at the time. And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna watch this. This should be good. And within the first 2 minutes, I'm already texting these two like, guys, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life.
We screenshotted this chain of texts because what followed was...
So Nathan, he's in California, and he's going to fly out the next day for the live show, and we tell him, like, hey, make sure you watch this so he can review it.
he starts watching it at home, but then he has to watch the rest on a plane. And then so he's telling us he's having to like lean into the window and like watch it like this, like the whole flight.
He was like, I hope there's like no children behind me that like can view what I'm watching on my phone.
Oh man.
The rat's head.
But he had a question for you guys. He's like, usually actors, they're trying to be as like, as like polished and clean cut as possible. But like for the Greasy Strangler to work, you guys really had to lean in to the characters and the craziness that is the Greasy Strangler. And he was like, how were you guys able to do that? Or it was like something along those lines that he wanted us to ask.
Yeah, because like
Can I answer that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, his main thing too, and like it was one thing about us with the movie was like, on surface when you're scrolling through Tubi and you see the Greasy Strangler, you're like, all right, you're expecting to go into this Tubi quality, but you're watching, you're like, not only is this good, but like you're committed.
You can't take your eyes off.
You went all like, that's the main thing I love about the Greasy Strangler was like, dude, if you're gonna make these kind of movies and you're gonna go for it, you go all the way. And like,
genuine.
There's no doubt you guys went all the way. So that's like, I guess main thing Nathan was wondering was like, how did you guys commit?
So I'm going to answer, and then you can answer. Is that all right with you, Mr. Ronnie?
Big Ron.
Big Ron?
Okay, Big Ron.
There's Big Ron.
So
big dick
So here's
there.
the deal, dude. I worked with Jim Hosking before I got with the Greasy Strangler. So in every director, when I did Under the Silver Lake with Andrew Garfield, that director, he gave the tone of what he wanted in the audition room, and just the tone. And when I got out there, he explained the tone again. So I didn't have to lean he leaned me into the thing. He gave me the setup. So I kind of adjusted my whole. That's what actors have to do. The director gives you the whole thing, what tone he wants to go for, and you have to kind of adjust yourself to this tone. And sometimes you can do it, and sometimes you can't. You're like,
well, because
how
it's
do I
like
do that?
He dumps a bunch of Lego pieces on the floor and says, "Build this," and you're like,
Sometimes you're like, oh, I know how to do that. And sometimes you're like, I don't know how to fucking do that. But Jim, I had been leaning. He makes you lean into this stuff, and I'd worked with him years before, so it was natural. I was right there.
So it's like a chemistry. You're in a band.
It's a chemistry.
So you know what it's like when you start playing in a band together, and it just flows. The same thing with like a director and an actor. You're like, we get it.
And the same thing with all these auditions you do, where you're like, I like this thing, and you go in, and it sometimes it works incredibly. Your chemistry is there, and it doesn't click with with your creative thing.
Sometimes, and exactly right. But was that one of the easiest projects for you then? It was just effortless to work.
That one and the Jared Hesh one with Sam Rockwell.
Yeah.
Those two were like I just knew what I was gonna do. I just knew it instinctively. It's weird.
Wow, it's meant to be. You're meant to make that art. That's what I love. That's super cool.
It's funny that you did something to Jared Hess because I think it was like the second text message I sent to them. I think I said like, this is like an offensive Napoleon Dynamite that we're watching right now. It's like,
and he saw it at Sundance. I invited him out, and I thought I'd lose a friend. Because you think like Mormon people can be a little bit like conservative.
Oh yeah.
But he came out of the main screening and said, that was the best fucking thing I've ever seen in my life.
Oh God, yeah.
Everyone we show, we always give them, of course. Well, depending on who they are, we give them the the like disclaimer, right? And then it's like if you can enjoy this movie. And after, we'll see how it goes. I will tell if this is how I test people if you're my friend or not. And then after, when we start doing the one-liners back and forth, I get the text, you bullshit artist. I'm like, you're in, dude. That's it. My brother. Instead of saying like brother in Christ, it's brother in Grease.
You may have claimed your pussy, but you never claimed your heart. You're in.
I'd rather have a pussy than a heart anyway. 'Cause I've eaten hearts before, and they aren't really. The non-striated meat is not the best.
It doesn't taste as good as eating pussy.
Truly.
I can't really do the quote thing too much at my house because my wife loses her mind because she does not watch the same movies I watch at all. And but thankfully, I have a 16-year-old son who we watch everything together. And we watched The Greasy Strangler one night.
Did he call CPS? Right. My dad showed me this weird movie.
But we were in the car one day and we're just calling each other bullshit artists and king penguin shit and horse shit and everything. And my wife's like, if you guys quote that movie one more time, I'm taking your phones away. And we were
and then
sorry.
It's illegal for him to see that movie anymore because they finally rated it.
Oh no!
You're going to jail, dude.
Wait, you're going to be doing your thing one day, and your wife's going to come over and be really mad, act like here she comes, and she's going to say, "You're evicted." And you're like,
I thought you had you and both your boys driving her crazy saying, you probably think I'm the Greasy Strangler.
Yeah, my 11-year-old hasn't seen it, but he just knows by proxy from us quoting it constantly, just wandering around the house, just going, Porto. And we're just, my wife's just like, God damn.
Thank you.
Like, just stop it.
Is that what you guys get all the time? That people just quote the movie back to you?
One-liners,
just in your sleep now? It's just
mainly bullshit artists.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because it's the easiest one when you're coming up and greeting someone. Bullshit artist. And it's like,
It's iconic.
Yeah, when we were at Sundance, I was waiting to get into a restroom, and this couple comes running up and starts doing the hootie tootie disco thing and calling each other bullshit artists, you know.
Yeah, that's when we knew we were in trouble.
Yeah.
Can't go anywhere.
Well, actually, until we had that first screening where nobody knew anything and people had to pay to get in, that was the first time I realized that people really liked this.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because before you're at
$500 for one of these things.
No
It's
kidding.
Sundance.
We saw two people. We went to Days of the Dead Atlanta and Days of the Dead Chicago, and we saw one. No, it was Phoenix. It was your friend's husband or something, and one other person. And we see those bright pink beanies, and we run to them wherever they are. We're like, stop! And we're like, Greasy Strangler, and they're like, yeah, dude. And it's like, oh, so
Let's go
far
out for a creamy daiquiri.
God,
It's not a drink, it's liquid sex.
That's a good line.
Yeah.
there's so many good lines in there. You know, like, I mean, and it's like you watch it and you have to, you know, you kind of soak it in, and
That's
then you're
the
like,
thing.
oh hell yeah, and then you just
Yep.
all the things just that you come into.
It's because these
like
guys
you need
are
a rewatch of
smoothies.
it. Oh, yeah,
No,
maybe.
but I am.
Let's get it right. Okay, let's get it
Excuse me.
right. Well, do you guys have any questions
Yeah,
that you would
let's
like
turn it
to
over to
ask?
your fans. Yeah.
Big Braden
How
is
about
not a
you guys?
smoothie.
That's for sure.
Let's hear it, and then we'll re-say it back into the microphone.
What was the grease made out of?
What was the grease made of? Yes.
What was that grease
Yeah.
made out of?
We did talk about
It
the
was a
practical
thing
effects.
called ultra ice.
No, methocellulose.
Yeah, well, the stuff that
Same thing.
They lathered the methocellulose and then put the, what's it called?
ultra ice.
Ultra ice on top to make it shine and glisten.
And it just,
and
you know,
boy.
it'll give you freezer burns in the Sahara in the summer. And then when it dries out, I would spend over an hour just getting rid of it from my hair. I would have to sit in the bathtub and keep my head underwater and try and loosen it up again. I mean, I spent more on plumbers than I made doing this movie.
Clogging your drains.
Was there any time, like a couple days after you were done, like you still found grease or whatever it was somewhere, like in
Like
your
sand or
like
something.
just on you, like, oh, what is that? Oh, geez.
Yeah. There was the happiest moment for me in the film actually was when I was laying in that batch of leaves. Because at that point I knew they could never use this suit again.
We were done.
That
was
over.
it.
Thank you.
Dude. So, go ahead. Wow.
Oh,
Hey.
wow.
Should we like kiss or something?
Yeah, so,
Any more questions?
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I first watched An Evening with Beverly Loughlin, and I fell in love with it. And I don't know, Jim Hosking just has such an amazing way of. I've always wondered what it was like to work with him because I've just like never seen a piece of media that is kind of this encapsulated world, and so I was just wondering like what that process was like. And
It's Well, it was the hardest job I've ever had, and it was the most wonderful. I mean, it's like I'm bummed whenever he does something that I'm not in. I don't, and then I found out there's one time I didn't believe him when he was trying to get me to do something for Ebony and Ivory, and I didn't catch on because I don't. I mean, he came up to me and said, when you're doing this, they want you to do it like this, like that. And I'm looking at it and says, get out of my face. I'm not here to be your puppet. I'm here, because I'm here. And whatever happens, happens. And they picked me. And then I started reading the script because I hadn't had a chance before. And it was difficult for me because I don't do memory well, and they wanted it, they wanted the script followed, and so it was frustrating. And then when I found out I was Jody, because I had never even considered being Jody, because I thought I was just, the Greasy Strangler character, and then, whoever that other guy was. And then they throw Jody at me, and then, what? Who? So I'm running through the thing finding him. And that actually was the most fun to shoot because every take something fell off. The mustache, the teeth, the nails. I mean, we could not get through a take, And it also had my favorite, Jody must leave now.
That was going to be something I was going to ask you guys was you mentioned that they wanted the script really stuck to, and there's just so much craziness going on. Like if you guys ever had a chance to improv or slide anything in there, like it was just straight up.
The only improv that ever happened was when Jim was improving and throwing me lines, like when in the am I doing it right? Am I doing it right, Janet? That wasn't in the script. Jim threw that to me and said, Sky, am I doing it right? Am I doing it? And I'd say, I knew what he was, and I just mimicked what he was doing and did it in my own way. But that he does the improving.
Okay.
It's like Jared, too. Jared will throw lines at you. He is so brilliant with comedy. He just throws these lines out and you're...
But he wants, it's like, I don't want to say like a puppet, like you were saying, but it's
no.
like he uses your voice to say exactly what he's thinking.
Yes.
And it just, that's the chemistry. It's perfect. Yeah, that's so cool.
We are meat puppets, because we're just tools of the director. And so we're not, but we are important because we're what everybody sees. But
well, remember, you're the right tool for the job.
But hopefully,
I mean,
I can show you some of the stuff where I'm not.
Everybody on that did that film was equally, like, how do I put that? They were like
brilliantly cast.
Yeah.
Yes, every single person
Thank
was
you.
on
I
the
cast
same...
3 people in the film.
That's what blew me
Other
away.
than that, it was a good movie.
There wasn't like anyone that was like, oh, everybody's good in the movie, but then there's like that guy. It's like every single person is equally just as like completely encapsulated in that world of batshit crazy. Yeah. How did you do that? How did you get everybody to
well, that
commit?
That's
Jim's
job.
From,
Okay.
That comes from the commercial world in L.A. In the commercial world in L.A., there are so many incredibly funny-looking characters. And I met all of them because I did commercials for 10 years. And I met Sam, all those guys I used to see at commercial auditions. And Jim latched on to I met Jim at a commercial like in 2009.
Really?
That's what got me my first short film with him and then another short film. But the commercial world in LA is just wrought with incredibly funny characters.
Yeah, but it's so hard to discover them in that ocean of people, you know?
Yeah, and they're trying to break out into the film and TV world, and it's really, really hard.
Yeah, especially now with social media.
Yeah.
It's like, if you don't want, I could go all the way over and go to this audition, or I could just scroll through TikTok and see who's already got a following, and that's an immediate win. And people are looking at that and not going to the roots, you know. It's
so he met him at I think he did a commercial audition with Jim.
Did I?
Yes, you did. That's where he thought of you to bring you in for Beverly Loughlin.
Oh no, I remember reading that with a guy who was really good to read with, and the next day I'm reading with Gil, and it was like, at the time it was like reading with a stone wall because I wasn't getting any feedback from him, and then so I figured, well, we're moving on. So I was thinking about what am I going to do next to try and get him to respond to me. And that's the first time Jim said anything. He says, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to get through the next part of the scene." and you know,
so,
and
but
then I
to
got
talk
the part.
about the characters, he met Carl through commercials. He met Sam. He met all those people through commercials. And Gil was in commercials. Gil the black guy, and I brought Gil in. He had 3 roles that were open. He said, "Sky, do you know any people?" And I'm like, "What roles are they?" And he told me the roles. I said, "You should bring Gil in for this one, and bring my friend, the hot dog vendor."
of course.
He came in, and they wanted to cut that scene. They thought it was, but
I'm so glad they did it.
Yeah, I'm glad they did it. Yeah.
But that's all from the commercial world.
Really? Now,
I worked with Carl in the group, the Video Dead. Also, he was the guy who wheels in the TV at the end of the movie.
so this was your second. Greasy Strangler was your second.
The second
project?
time I worked with
That's
him.
cool.
Yeah, we used to have the same agent up there for a while.
San Francisco.
Yeah, and that's where I pissed off Ellen DeGeneres.
Wait, what? Okay, hold on.
continue.
Wait a second.
You can't end there.
Are we allowed to? Yeah, can we end on the story? Are we allowed to say the story?
Yeah, the lawyers won't let us say.
But can I ask the lady? Are you an actress?
No.
Okay, because I was wondering if you were seeking to work with Jim Hosking. That kind of a question, like what's it like to work with?
No. Yeah, I've just always been curious.
Yeah. Okay.
It's great.
It's good. It's good.
Do you guys have any questions or anything you want to ask these guys?
Do you have
or-
any idea
something,
what
anything.
we're doing?
Anything.
I love the movie, and I also love Tim and Eric. Do you guys know Tim and Eric?
Yes.
She's
I
asking the question
auditioned
I
for
was going to
Tim.
ask.
Did you?
A long time ago, down in Hollywood, for the Tim and Eric show. Yeah, the scene, their scenes and their little sketches are genius.
I don't know if you meant to, but I feel like you channeled them a few times.
Me?
Yeah.
Wow, thanks.
I will say, while watching the show, I got that's what I was just going to ask. Is like, have you guys seen Tim and Eric?
I
Because
auditioned for their show, Million.
That's
I love
great.
their show.
and that's why I was like, oh, he's perfect for it. Like, because watching the movie, but you guys even go a step further.
And Jared said, "Sky, you stole all the Napoleon Dynamite stuff." It's like my thing. He like, "Hey, Dad."
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
He thought I was like ripping off.
But like Napoleon Dynamite and Tim and Eric is how I can describe it to people. That's the easiest way. And then I just say, just add grease. And then they're like, what? And I'm like, trust me. Like, that's all you need. And that's the kind of the way to like ease in. Because then they realize how it's so much more. You guys aren't copying anything. There is nothing like the Greasy Strangler.
Especially his dance scene.
Nothing.
With the
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 dancing.
spotlight.
Yeah, there it is, right there.
Have you
So
ever
good.
seen anything like that?
No.
Ever?
No.
No.
Talk about
How
bad
do you
dancing.
do that?
Out of everybody that I send that to, when I know they're watching the movie, is when I get the screenshot of that with you flat against
Yeah.
the wall with the dick out, and then I'm like, That's all I get. Then I'm like, you watched it.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. It's always right there at that still. It's so funny.
It's so,
Beverly
like-
Loughlin or the Greasy Strangler, if you had to pick one.
I think that, I don't know, the Greasy Strangler is more of just like an art piece, whereas I feel like Beverly Loughlin is beautiful and amazing in different ways. So I'd say from just an artistic perspective, probably the Greasy Strangler, but I love both very much.
I'm in both of them. I'm the voice of a cartoon in the back of a hotel room in Beverly Loughlin. I was supposed to be the bartender.
Oh, really?
But that didn't happen.
He slipped and bumped his head and had to go to the hospital.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time there. I'm a fucking disaster.
Obviously, I knew you were in the Greasy Strangler. Was like,
I had that all planned. I had my car packed. I was.
So you were taking a plane.
No, I was driving up. I was going to spend the weekend in San Francisco, come up to the set, and then I was going to spend about 3 weeks driving down the coast visiting friends. And
they flew us to Portland, and then we had to take a little plane down to Eureka.
Yeah.
Wow, was that
little puddle jumper?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, thank you. Well, you guys have a lot of fans here that are wanting to meet you. So we just wanted to.
Hi, fans.
Hey, keep it out over there.
Chill out.
Security.
Hey, yeah.
I'm hallucinating
Where's
again.
security?
Your fan is trying to steal a record, man, again.
That sounds like my fan.
Check under that guy's jacket. Yeah.
No, we just wanted to say thank you so much for taking the time. When we heard that you were going to be here, we were like, we have to make this work.
Scott put out a thing on Facebook, and it was just like, would anybody be interested? And I was like, yes, like absolutely. Like,
Have you looked into therapy?
oh no,
Can't afford
We
it.
can't afford it. So go to.
That's
I'm
true.
a podcaster. You think
We're
I got
starving
insurance?
artists, man. You know how it is. It's
They
just
choose mental illness.
Yeah, well, I'm in choosing mental illness. I play Nurse Ratchet in that.
Oh yeah.
I'm a really good Nurse Ratchet.
Real quick, like last question, I guess, was when I was wondering was like whenever you guys first read the script for this, immediately on page 1, it kind of sets the tone.
Right.
What was the scene? I mean, there had to have been one, but like if there was a scene while you're reading it for the first time that you guys were like, all right, let's chill out a little bit.
Or was there?
Or was there? Like, did you just go through and like, sounds good?
There were a lot of scenes that were cut that were like 13 scenes that were sex scenes that were cut.
That were filmed and
No.
Oh, okay,
they never-
just completely.
They were
13.
cut because of a certain incident, which I won't get into right now. But when we turn off the mics, I'll tell you. And it involves
No.
Me?
Oh, is
Big
that a
Ronnie.
surprise?
I am.
Real quick, last question. I just
Go.
we lied, but when you're every time you go into the car wash, was it your
God.
idea or was it part of the script for you to scream? Because I don't care how many times I see that scene, how many times I see the movie, every fucking time
It's
I
mesmerizing.
die. It kills me. Just the and it's just perfect, and it's perfectly cut, and it just hits me.
I kept wanting there to be more of it's just the acting and the directing and everything, the writing, but then like the cinematography on top of it.
Yeah.
Just the still shot
incredible.
of you in the car wash is like,
It's a piece of art.
it is. It's like just mesmerizing.
That's
You just wanna
Swedish.
watch this,
That's
like-
Swedish DPing.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's Martin. I don't know how to
Pronounce his last name. Yeah.
It's a Swedish name, but
He's really
Martin
good.
is an artist.
You can tell.
Yeah.
I never thought I could look at a greased up man in a car wash as art, and somehow.
Well, that's
He
because it
hates
was
me,
me.
We got in a big fight at Fantastic Fest.
Uh-oh.
Because he said the greatest band on the planet was Black Sabbath, and I'm like, come on, man, and he wouldn't talk to me after that.
who is the greatest band on the planet?
Greatest band on the planet.
Yeah.
current, or it could
rock
be like
band,
40s.
like rock. Sure.
Yeah.
No, any
Anybody.
great band.
Jazz bands, right?
We could, but that's for after we turn this off.
Yeah. Okay.
But-
The greatest rock band, probably. God, it's between Deep Purple, Led Zeppelin, The Who.
The Who, okay.
What
those
about Dio?
No. Well, Dio's in the top 3 of my greatest rock singers with Chris Cornell.
Yeah.
And he's almost in a different category for metal, not just rock on top of that.
Yeah.
But
Great
Zeppelin,
voice.
The Who,
Original, one of a kind.
The
yeah.
Who, and Deep Purple.
Deep Purple. What
So
about
I'm
you?
Singing opera too.
Yeah?
Yeah. Well, we were, my last ex-wife and I went on tour with the Dinosaurs Rock tour for a few days.
What?
And Dio.
ex-wife?
Yeah, my last ex-wife.
The last one.
I'm still
One of
looking
them.
for the next one.
We have a lot of beautiful.
He's just got a keychain that's like 20 pounds full of old house keys to all his old exes. And he just labels them like, oh, there's Wednesday. She's gone. Whatever. Like Playboy Playmates.
Does it just still work?
Yes and no. He only knows which ones work, though. He'll never tell. He'll never tell.
They all work on something.
Yeah, you just got to find the door.
Yeah, really.
This has been amazing. Thank you guys so much
Yeah.
for taking the time to speak with us. Thank you so much for putting out such a good fucking piece
Yeah.
of art.
Thank you,
It
Jim
truly-
Hosking.
Yeah, thank
Yeah,
you
it's
so
all
much.
Jim
This is amazing.
Hosking's fault.
Well,
Yeah.
You got any problems with that, you take it up with him.
And watch
Yes.
my new movie with Jim Hosking, Ebony and Ivory.
I was gonna ask you guys, what
Okay.
fans can expect coming
I've
up,
got,
what you're working on.
Let's see. I'm in Cult of Blood, which is streaming right now, but it won't be for long. And then
On what? What's it streaming on?
I don't know.
Okay.
It's just
We'll find it.
We'll find
it's
it.
out there.
Yeah, we'll find it.
And then Strange Toys, which I got to work with Patty Mullen on, although I didn't meet her there. Who was Frankenhooker, and just she's a doll
Yeah, I was just saying,
She
she's
is-
still pretty, too.
she's-
She's just sweet as hell.
until she opens her mouth.
Oh.
Did you hear that?
She's got the thickest New York accent,
Oh, yeah.
and I love it. But there are a lot of people who don't. You know, and I'm thinking, man, you're crazy.
Like Marissa Tomei in My Cousin Vinny with that real talking to you. The leather. Yeah, you do it
Yeah.
pretty good. Yeah, my dog.
That's
Yeah.
nothing compared to Patty.
No way.
Yeah,
She lays
way.
it on thick.
She is. You know?
Wow.
That's just her.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know. She was great. I really love her.
Cool.
But
Beautiful. And we have to say thank you to Scott
At
here
Asylum
at Asylum
Records.
Records. Thank you, and Hopper, of course.
Whatever Hopper is.
Thanks for the
Asylum
pizza,
Records.
man.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you guys again. Okay, we're going to make sure next time we see you, we're going to watch your new movies, and then we're going to have more to discuss.
Can we get an applause? So
Yes.
yeah, can there be applause? Can there
Yeah.
be applause?
There's a huge crowd here.
Yay.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
And
Thank
just
you.
And just put the cherry on top. Can you guys please say your favorite line from the movie that you like to quote / that you would like to leave us
You're
off?
the biggest bullshit and horseshit artist in the world.
I'm speechless.
I'm gonna go out and
Bullshit.
That's perfect.
And that needs another round.
Keep going.
Yeah.
see ass daiquiris, motherfucker.
And I love my pussy ass daiquiris, motherfucker. They aren't a drink. It's liquid sex.